I think you've just got to be upbeat and focus on the positives. And, ordinarily these people are just inspirational to me anyway. The bravery and, we set realistic goals. We see what they want. What can't they do now that they want to be able to achieve? And we do those in baby steps, or they might have huge goals. So we work together as a team towards those goals. We motivate, but they're often so well motivated themselves to have gone through the treatment that they've gone through already. What lays ahead for them is easy in comparison to what they've had to sustain and the choices that they've had to make. I had a really good job in England at York District Hospital. And then the phone rang one night and it was another American accent, and they said they were calling from Lafayette, Louisiana. And I honestly had to get the atlas out and see where Louisiana was exactly. I knew it was right at the bottom of America. But so I don't know how all that happened, to be honest. My boss at Our Lady of Lourdes said it was serendipity. I had to look that one up as well at the time, but that's sort of how it happened. It was almost sort of by accident. The community here is marvellous. I mean, where do you find towns with the likes of Miles Perrette? A family-run charity that has gone on for years and years and is so well supported by the community and can help people here. It's just, I don't know, it's unique. It has a family feel to it, doesn't it, Acadiana? That I don't suppose you get in other places in America, because people move around so much in America, and maybe they didn't here for a long time because of, roads or the fact that it was cut off for such a long time, but it's turned into a very unique place to be. One of my mentors in the UK said if you're prepared to listen to your patients, they'll tell you what's wrong with them and exactly how to treat them. They won't know, but listen to them. And I think I've got better at doing that as the years have gone on. You find out what they want and where they are in that process. And, to sort of superimpose what you think they need onto that patient, whether they're a patient going through cancer or a spine injury or anybody really, is the wrong thing to do. You've got to listen and treat them where they are. So I think that's the advice I'd give to my younger self, is open your ears a bit more. This lady had metastatic breast cancer, but she was the most positive person I think I've ever met in my life. She was in her 40s and an old soul. It's like she'd been here many, many times before. And I think she was more concerned about me than she was about herself. And, I worked on her shoulder and her lymphedema, and her glass was definitely half full all the time. And I didn't know it at the time, but the very last time I saw her, this was about 23 years ago, I finished up the treatment and I said, I'm going to go and grab some lunch, I'll walk out with you. So we walked out, and it was at the Old Lords under the parking tower, so it echoes. And there was a lot of people around going for lunch and cars coming in and out. So we walked out together, and I said, hey, I'll see you next week then. And she said, yeah, all right. And then as I'm walking into Lourdes, she shouted my name like really loud. And I think everybody stopped and looked. She just said, Tony. And so I turned around and she went, I love you, man. And I went all English at that point and embarrassed, and said, yeah, great, see you next week. And, went and got my lunch. When I really should have gone and given her a hug. Anyway, I didn't see her again, and I learned that she'd passed away very shortly after that. I think she knew it, and about 2 weeks later, her husband came to the clinic. I hadn't met him. He's a huge guy, like a linebacker or something, and he had a book under his, like a school exercise book under his arm, and he had this plant, and now she raised plants, indoor plants, and she said, oh, you want to get into botany? And I said, oh, I don't. The only plants that survive at our house are plastic ones, because we kill plants. And she said, well, you want to get, it's interesting. Anyway, so he turned up with a plant that was a lot smaller than that in a little. And he said, oh, this is from my wife, and she wanted you to have this. I said, well, that's great. I said, well, come sit down a minute. What's in your book? And he said, oh man, look at this. And he opened it, and it was just dozens of names and instructions of things that he had to do. Sometimes it was a card, or say this to them, or write this note, or give them this. But he had enough work to keep him going for weeks, this man. And she'd done that for him, obviously. And so I got the plant. And that plant, I haven't looked after it at all. It absolutely thrives on neglect. We've been on vacation, we've gone back to England and left it and forgot to water it before we went, and it comes back and it looks delightful. And so it sort of reminds me of her, of course, every time I see it, and that it's so full of life, and I have to keep hacking it back. I mean, it would take over the whole house if you let it. And I do water it occasionally, but it is, it cannot be killed off, this plant. So that is probably the person that really sticks in my mind, and of course I see her every day.